This is Meri at TheMeriAtelier, and I am going to work on an art journal called a do-si-do art journal, where we use two boxes. You can see I'm using a Nips candy box, and we glue them together in the center and make a third spine. So we actually have three places where we will be putting signatures. Do-si-do stands for back to back. You can see I'm using a Nips candy box. By the way, this project is presented by Tanya McGuire of This, That, and Chat, Lisa Conway at My Eclectic Life, and Becky at AuntBecscreations. There will be links to all of their channels in the description box below. Now, as I was filming, my video skipped out on the first part of where I glued my front cover down, which is basically just a piece of fabric that I got at Walmart several weeks ago. I've had it in my stash. So now I'm getting ready to work on the inside cover. Now I decided just to use scrapbook paper, 12 by 12. I will be trimming off of the edge and cutting it in half, and then I will be cutting it to shape. So I'm just getting it out here. Actually, I'm kind of doing this all by ear. Not really sure. Did not have this part planned out, but it turns out in the long run. I'm getting my trimmer out, getting things ready. Trim off the barcode and the information there on the border. Now I'm just trimming some 6 by 6 pieces, and I measured against my book and decide that I need to trim it down a little. Probably about, I think I decided 5.5 by 8.5, I think is what I have. 5.5 by 8.5 is what I trim it down to. I know that's 5.5. And I believe the other piece was 8.5. So this piece trims out very nice. I'm very happy with it. Trimming it down to, oh, it's 5 1/4 by 8.5. Now, if you do this, you're going to have to make your inside cover to fit whatever your box's width is going to be. And I'm just getting ready to do the other side. Now I make a goof here. I cut this part fine, and then I do the 5 1/4 fine, but then I adjust things. I go back and I measure, and then oops, I cut this 5 1/4. I cut my 8.5 into pieces. So, oh well, that'll go in my scrap box for tags, probably my totally junk journal, ATCs or something. So I get out another piece of scrapbook paper and trim it down. 5 1/4 by 8.5, I believe is what I'm wanting. Cutting off that little piece of printed information on the border. Just get rid of that. Figuring out what I want there. And we are going to 5 1/4. 8.5 by, this time I get it right, 5 1/4. There we go. So, yep, that's fitting. That's looking very nice. I'm very happy with that. Now you can see in the center there, I have some fabric that I actually, oops, I kicked the camera, that I actually glued down. And that resolves itself later on. You'll see what happens to that. That actually doesn't stay, well, it stays there, but I work with it further later on in the video. So I'm using Aleene's Tacky Glue. Just getting a nice glue job done on it. And I decided to use my palette knife to spread this glue out. I really like doing that. I can get just a little bit more precision with my palette knife. And decide to put it down on my front cover. And I always have to kind of, when I work alone, I can get my nose right above it. but I see that I have it too far up. I get to about this point and I decide I want to move it down a little, so it's still adjustable. So there we go. Now you need to be very careful. Tanya stressed this several times in her video. In the Hangout, she stressed it several times, is you want to make sure that where your spines are, that they're still bendable. And you can see that that's what I'm doing now. I'm making sure that my inside cover bends at the right places. I get out my ruler and fold it over. Make sure that the other side of the spine folds over right. Now when I do the left side of the book, I will actually score it first. But I'm happy with it. It works out. No problem. I'm getting my bone folder out so that I can give it some nice creases. Now I decide to put a little bit more glue on it. Score it a little bit better so that it'll fold a little bit better when I open and close the journal. It's giving it another glue job because I lifted that up a couple times, so I want to be sure that it's glued down nice. And making sure I've got it on all the edges and the corners. There we go. Gluing it down. Pressing out all the air bubbles. Making sure everything's nice and flat. Now I will say, when I gessoed this, my gesso is fairly thick, so there are some ridges. And I couldn't figure out what was causing my ridges at first. And then when I found out it was my thick brushes of gesso, I was okay with it. Anything distressed, I'm okay with. I'm not really going for a lot of perfection when I make these. I think that they have their own personality. Your personality shows through, and I'm certainly not a perfectionist when I make my journals. But they turn out. I'm doing a little extra job. Now, I do like to have things secure and nicely glued down. Now, I'm going to do the other side, and you'll see that I score my spine first, and that really works out nice. I just kind of scored over the ruler. Just kind of bend it to where it should be. I'm still working with the other side. Score down the burnish down on the score line. Just fold it where I know what I'm doing. Now I'm getting ready to glue this. I'm just measuring that things are there like I want. Checking the spine out. Now that part that I just showed you in the center spine will actually be the middle spine. So I'll be doing more work on that. Now I actually flip this over from left to right when I do the glue job. So you'll see where I have to adjust it when I actually glue it down. I have to flip it back so that the score lines fit the right places on the book. I'll point out when that happens. Go back to using my palette knife to spread things out. It just seems like I can get a nicer coating of glue on it. Using a credit card is fine, whatever you have. I just like to use my palette knife. Now, I put it, or attempt to put it down, and then I decide, oh, that's wrong. So I'll flip it. You'll see here where, that's not working for me. So I flip it over right there. I flip it over. And that's right. Kind of get my head in the way every now and then. Sorry about that. Now I'm just burnishing out all the spots, making sure everything's down nice and neat. And I'm really liking the colors, really coordinate. I like how this is coming together. Everything fits. When I bought all the pieces to this, the candy box and the fabric and the paper, I didn't think that I was going to make something like this. I think sometimes I buy what I like. And if you buy what you like, chances are, if you buy from different sources at different times, chances are your own taste and style will come through, and chances are they'll coordinate. Now I'm just making sure everything folds up nice like I want into the M or the W shape. Yeah, it's coming out very nice. I'm very happy with it. And I have to say, while I'm just going to fix some little glue spots in there that I need to make sure it's glued down good. But I will say that while I'm filming this, I'm talking to you. Now, I'm doing a voiceover now, but I was talking to you and I was listening to Lisa and Tanya and Becky in my ears, and there was just a Chinese conversation going on in my head. 10 people were talking at once. Now I decide that I have this Tim Holtz collage paper that has birds all over it. And I'm going, this is perfect. This is perfect for the inside of this. It's almost the right size. I'm just kind of fitting it to where I want the little birds to land. And yeah, I'm going, this is really cool. I forgot I even had this, so I'm rolling up the excess, putting it back. I'll probably get more of that. And then I decide that I want the top and the bottom edges torn, distressed. So I kind of fold this tissue paper. I roll it up is what I end up doing, is rolling it up, and then I'll just tear it on the edge that's not folded there at the top, and that will distress both the top and the bottom. See, I'm tearing about a 1/2 inch off. And that will tear both the top and the bottom. There we go. Yeah. Oh, I'm liking that. Now, I was thinking I was going to have to put washi around the sides there in the book, but with this tissue paper, it really acts as a giant washi. So now I'm just tearing off the sides, getting the collage paper to fit. Oh, I am liking it. I am liking it. I am liking it. Decide I need to tear off some more. Getting ready to collage it down. Now, I do use my Elmer's glue that I usually use for my glue booking. That's my glue pot. And I use Elmer's school glue, 3 parts glue, a little less than 1 part of water is the solution that I use. And I decided to use that here. Kind of adjust my tissue paper. I try to get as straight as I can, but I have to work with it just a little, but I get it. Tissue paper, if you have some crinkles in it, it doesn't matter. It's to be expected. I got some up at the corner that I think I still have. I decided I'd just leave that. I may go back and put a piece of tissue over it. You see that bird there on the spine, the middle spine? So I collage my tissue right over it, and that bird kind of goes into the background. But he peeks out. He's just hiding behind the leaves, I guess. Now, I might collage another bird over it. At the end of this video, it still is like what you see it. I might, when I work on it more, put another bird on the spine. We'll see. I'm not sure I'm totally happy with how that is as it is now. But that's the fun of making your own journals. You can play with it and do what you want. And I am so happy that this all coordinated. I did not plan it that way. Yeah. So now I put my glue pot away, or at least put the lid on it before I spill it. And I think I do a little bit of dry time here, smoothing out some of the air bubbles and the burnishing down things. You don't see all the dry time on this. I'm showing you some to show that I do have dry time, but I edit out a lot of my dry time in making this book. All right, there it is. Oh, I'm really happy with it. I am really happy with how this has turned out. Yeah. But now I'm thinking, What does this need? I'm folding it up to make sure all my folds are good. It's exactly what I want. Do-si-do. Yep, it's going like I want. Got the little end flaps there. I'm thinking I'm going to use those when I do my closure. I really haven't planned it yet, but something in me wanted to keep them, so I followed my thought on keeping them. Not sure why. Yeah. So just scoring the spines so that they'll bend really nice. And I will say this, it's really kind of damp yet. You know, like when you gesso cardboard and you use a heat gun to dry it, it really takes 24 hours for it to get nice and dry. But while it's still damp, it's really nice to score it as much as you can because you can put those creases in there a lot easier than when it's totally dry. Oh yeah, I need gold. Of course. That's what I'm saying. I need more gold on the inside cover. And this is Speedball screen printing ink. I have used and used and used and used it. And yeah, it's getting down toward the bottom, but I did get me another jar of it. I can't live without my gold. No, I can't live without it. In fact, Janet was saying that I had to give Meri a special gold prompt last night. We were the Big Tens. I was rebelling around prompt 9. I'm going, I need gold on my Pick 10 game. So she gave me a special gold prompt. Isn't that fun? Look at the difference it makes. Look at the difference that it makes. It just makes that book sing. Well, the birds have something to do with it singing too, but the gold color certainly helps it out. I'm very happy with it. Touching it up in spots. Yeah. Thinking about what I want to do next, and I fold it up and think, oh, look, it needs gold on the front too. And that is the front cover. This is fabric. This side is the fabric side. And so I dip into my increasingly empty jar of gold. It seems to have, you know, it seems to go on and on and on. I can't tell you how many projects I've used that jar of gold on. It has certainly lasted me probably over a year. Now, my thought here is that I'm just going to put the gold along the edges and kind of let some of those white lighter spots in the middle of the book covers show through. And I get out some distress. I think this is weathered wood or weathered twigs or twisted twigs or something like that. It's distress oxide. And I decide I want a little of that along the border too. And what I'm thinking of is both of these mediums are water soluble. So I'm thinking I have to seal it. And right about now I'm thinking I'm going to seal it with some Liquitex matte medium that I have. And you will see it doesn't totally wipe out the lighter parts in the center. Well, I flipped it over and doing the same thing to the back. Just kind of putting some darker color around the edges. But when I put that matte medium in there, it kind of blends everything out. When I work on it again, after it's all dry, I may go back in it. But I don't know. I kind of like it. I'm kind of looking at it now while I'm doing the voiceover. So we'll see. We'll see how it grows once I get working on it again. So now I'm getting ready to do the matte medium here. I'm getting it out. It's Liquitex matte medium. It's the liquid kind. It's not a gel. It's liquid. And I'm just starting, and you can see it kind of blends all those colors together. It does leave a little bit of the lighter portion in the center. I like it. I really do like it. And at this point I got too much on my brush, so I flip it over and put some on the back. So I flip it over and do the back. I'm very happy with how this is turning out. Now, I'm telling you that in my live stream, I'll do an impromptu live stream on Wednesday morning. This is Tuesday night. I will be getting pages ready for this. We'll need several signatures in the 3 spots where we're going to bind it. So, I hope that you've enjoyed watching this. I'm going to let it dry and we'll look at it tomorrow morning in my video. Thank you for watching, and yeah, I will see you on the next page.